It's our new server, Stormy. What do you think? Hello again, my name is David Watts from Lenovo Press, and I have with me today Russ Resnick. Russ is the Worldwide Segment Manager for ThinkSystem Servers.
Hi David, how are you?
I'm very good, Russ, yeah. And we're filming today from a special location. Russ, where are we?
We're at the Lenovo Center here in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is a preeminent sports and entertainment complex, and is home to the NHL Carolina Hurricanes and the North Carolina State University basketball teams.
And that's why we're wearing our Hurricane sweatshirts,
Go
right?
Canes, that's right.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us today, David?
Okay, so today we've got the ThinkSystem SR650 V4. In fact, we have two of them. This is our new 2-socket 2U server, which is based on the new Intel Xeon 6 processor with P-core, performance cores.
That's right.
Yep. So that's the the Xeon 6700 and the Xeon 6500 P. Processors. Yeah. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about the components, how everything fits together. We'll go through the front first, look at the rear, and then look inside as well.
All right.
And
so what's new with
then
these?
maybe describe what's going on. Yeah. So what's new?
Yeah.
So there's several new features with the V4 systems. In particular, we now support E3.S drives at the front, in addition to 2.5 and 3.5.
And we support up to 32 of them in the front of this.
Yeah, for the E3.S.
Yes.
Indeed. Yeah. We also have new memory technology. We support the new MRDIMMs, high performance memory, and the new CXL memory, which goes in those E3.S drive bays at the front for additional memory.
That's right.
If your application needs more memory. We also are going to be supporting with this new to V4 hot swap M.2, both at the front and at the rear. Oh, sorry, M.2 front or rear, I should say.
Right.
And that's in addition to the internal that we've offered,
which goes right here
for the last few iterations of our servers.
Right.
So M.2, of course, is for OS boot.
Yes.
The advantage of hot swap at the front or rear. Why is that? Why is that useful?
So customers have the flexibility that if they need to hot swap one of the boot drives, they don't have to open up the server. They can get to it from the front or the rear.
Uptime and
improve reliability.
That's right. Yep. All right. So, and as well as that, we have a new design for our PCI risers at the back of the server, the slots, and we'll get to that in a moment. And we have new water cooling capabilities in this new server as well. So there's a lot of new features to go on this new system.
That's right.
Right, so let's start at the front. So this server is configured for 2.5-inch drives. In fact, we have 16 2.5-inch drive bays. It can go up to 24 at the front, and those can be SAS SATA or NVMe or any bay. That's right. Depending on what configuration you pick. This configuration is only 16 drive bays, and that supports the hot swap M.2 at the front. That's right. Yeah. Now, in addition to that, we also support 3.5-inch drives, and it's up to 12 of those at the front. That's right. A third choice is the E3.S drive base. Right. This is a new to ThinkSystem drive technology, NVMe only, and we support either the E3.S1T for storage or the E3.S2T for memory. So that's a CXL memory, a new type of memory that is in addition to the memory DIMMs that go in the inside of the server. We have additional space now for additional E3.S based CXL memory, CXL 2.0 memory at the front of the server as well. Yeah. So those are different drive configurations. Now, as well as that, on the front here, we've got the usual buttons at the front, buttons and LEDs for controls, the power button, the ID button, various LEDs. There's also the connector for the embedded. That's right. For the diagnostic handset. The external diagnostic handset port is there as well. And on the other side, we have an optional component which will deliver 2 USB ports and a mini display port, video port for local local management if you want to have that. That's an optional feature for you. The server also has a pull-out tab for MAC address and IP address network information for the remote management Ethernet port at the back of the server. So that information is available there. So that's the front of the server. Let's spin it around and have a look at the back. So the back of the server is where we'll see the PCI slots. This server actually is configured with 6 PCI slots, but it actually can support up to 10.
That's right.
So you can see on this side here, there are 2 low-profile slots and 3 full-height slots over here. Imagine those are on the other side mirrored over here. That gives you the 10 slots in total. These are all PCI Gen 5.
That's correct.
Across the board. And that's what's supported with the new Xeon 6 processors.
Right. We also have 2 OCP slots.
Right. In addition to that, there are 2 OCP slots, one on either side. That's also a new feature with V4. We used to have only 1. Now we have 2 OCP slots for increased networking.
That's right.
In fact, we now support OCP slots, OCP adapters that go up to 400 gigabit Ethernet. So significant networking capability across the board. This particular configuration has 4 2.5-inch drives, and that's just one of several different configurations at the rear, a mix of slots or drive bays, or both. There are configurations with 4 2.5, as you see here, or 8 2.5, or 4 3.5-inch drives, and of course you reduce the number of slots accordingly because they can't physically go in the same space. So lots of configuration choices there, and in addition to that, we also support the hot swap M.2 that can go in the back, and that goes in lieu of slot 8 at the back here, is where that would go.
Right. Yeah. We've also updated the riser architecture.
Right. That's right. Yeah. So in previous designs we had where it was a monolithic design, you had a riser with 3 slots on it. What we've done now is to make it cheaper, a lower entry cost by having each riser design have 1 slot at a time.
Yeah, so you basically pay as you go for the risers you need. You can always buy more riser slots if you need to, but you don't need to buy unnecessary slots.
Yeah, so you've got some examples there, Ross. Yeah, so here's an example of a riser. You can see it's where it goes just here, and it has 2 slots configured. One of them is we call it a rigid riser, but it's a riser that has the edge connector that plugs into the motherboard at the bottom there. The second slot is cabled, and the third slot, if you want to, there it is here. You just simply screw that on and plug it in, and that gives you your third slot. Yeah. And you can add these slots after the fact as a field upgrade. So as your workload needs it, if you need additional slots, you can start with just 1 slot and then add them as you go.
Yeah, and since we've got 2 OCP slots on the motherboard, we felt that adding these rigid risers here would solve the needs of most customers, because this rigid riser here is also replicated for the mirrored side over here.
Right, yes. Yeah, so very, very flexible in its design, allows you to configure the server to just what you need when you need it.
Exactly.
And add and upgrade when you need that too.
That's right.
Very easy, yeah. So that's the slot design. Now, we've also got space for 2 hot swap power supplies. This particular server has invisible power supplies, but in the production one, they'll be proper, real power supplies.
Yes.
So don't worry about that.
Right, and they're CRPS form factor.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Okay, so that's the rear of the server. Now let's look at the front, the middle there, the inside. Let me spin around this way, if I may. And so this is the air baffle, and I'm just point out that let me lift that up to show. So the air baffle itself has got space for the internal M.2 adapter. So remember, we have the hot swap front or hot swap rear or internal M.2. That's where that goes, and there's space for 4 supercaps or flash power modules for RAID adapters, and they would go here as well on the air baffle.
That's right.
Yep. So remove that, and that then shows us then our compute complex, the CPUs, the servers, 2 Intel Xeon 6 processors.
That's right.
Xeon 6 P cores, and support for up to 32 DIMMs.
That's right.
So this goes up, for example, max up to 8 terabytes of system memory. So a lot of memory if you need that. In addition, as we talked about before, in addition, there's also support for CXL memory if that is if your workloads can take advantage of the CXL memory characteristics. Now, this particular server is configured with air cooling. So there is a performance heatsink here attached to the processor to maximize the removal of heat from the processor. Now, in addition to that, we also have some open loop water cooling choices, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So what's the advantage, what's the benefit of using open loop water cooling?
So the benefit of open loop water cooling is that we can extract more heat out of the server without using the fans and air, which is much more efficient.
Right.
So if customers, if their racks are power capped, they can actually end up putting more computing into their racks by making the servers cool themselves, or making the servers cool more efficiely.
Right, right. So, and in fact, that's what we have here. Let's look over at this system here. So you can see we've got hoses that are coming into the back of the server in, I think it's slot 8 there. This is the cool water inlet hose and the warm water outlet hose. So they go in there. Let me turn this around. And those feed into the compute complex. Let me just lift this out. So you can see here, so what we have, this is our new design that cools not only the CPUs, but also cools the memory DIMMs.
That's right.
And the voltage regulators.
That's right.
All of these generate a significant amount of heat. In fact, with this water cooling, we're talking about removing as much as 80% of the heat through water. So that's significant savings, because water is a much better medium to remove heat than airflow. Mm-hmm. So this is a significant savings of energy by using water cooling for your servers. Now you can see here that each of the memory DIMMs has cooling pads, heat transfer pads. Mm-hmm. This design, because the memory DIMMs have to be further spaced apart to fit all that cooling material, the thermal material, it only supports 16 DIMMs.
Right.
So that's 1 DIMM per channel.
Which will yield higher performance.
Indeed.
Many customers who are looking for this kind of thermal solution are looking for the higher performance at the same time.
Right, right. Yeah, so you can see here the copper tubing, this is all metal here, will take the cool water in and feed it across the cold plates and beside each of the memory DIMMs and the voltage regulators, and then the water goes back out through additional pipes, back outside again.
That's right.
So this whole complex is available. And this is one of the 2 choices for open loop cooling. We also offer the open loop cooling that just removes the heat from just the processors.
That's right.
You don't get as much heat removal, but allows greater capacity for memory, for example. Mm-hmm. So there is that option available to you as well.
And you could also recognize that with this kind of thermal solution, you probably don't need all these fans, or you can use...
Or they simply run slower
using less power.
And it's not as noisy, mm-hmm. and don't use as much power, as you say. So yes, right. there's advantages to the overall heat and energy footprint of the server by using water cooling.
That's right.
Beyond just simply heat removal.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so that's let's go back to the server over here. Mm-hmm. So that's the cooling capabilities of the server. Now, as well as that, the server is based on, should we talk about the fans? Yes. Each of the fans, there are 6 fans here, and these are all hot swap fans, rotor, N+1 rotor redundancy, right. Mm-hmm. To allow for any kind of failure like that. The server will keep operating. Easy to replace. Now, in terms of management, the server is based on the new XCC3, X Clarity Controller 3. What's all that about, Russ?
So the X Clarity Controller 3 is implemented with OpenBMC, and the firmware on the system is implemented with OpenEDK. So it's all open source.
And what's the benefit of that? Why
so with open source, we know that others in the industry have validated and tested the code for both security and functionality.
Right.
And there's no proprietary code in the system.
Okay. So it's a good security story as well.
That's right.
And I would also add to that the server has a couple of physical security features as well. The servo has an optional front security bezel.
That's right.
And there is an optional intrusion switch so that the system can be alerted. You can get alerted if the cover is removed by some unauthorized user.
That's right.
So that's another option for you as well. Yep. So I think that's about it, Russ. Right? Are we missing anything?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah. So this is the ThinkSystem SR650 V4. Now, Russ, we're in the Lenovo Center today. Normally we film in the executive briefing center.
Right, but our briefing center is closed for renovation.
Right.
And when it reopens this spring, we'd ask if you're interested to talk to your Lenovo seller, see about getting a briefing, and come on in. You can talk to our developers, tour the labs, see what we're planning for the future. So once again, feel free to talk to your Lenovo seller.
Yeah, we'd love to have you here and host and come and visit us in the labs. We have it here in Raleigh. Yeah. All right, so there you have it. Russ, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.
Hope you found the video useful, and we'll see you later.